Okay, looks. I'll take a songbook and turn to page 186. No, not one. Page 186. If you don't know this, take your songbook and we'll learn it. Okay. Most of you should know it, I think. Page 186. No, not one. Wait till you find it. Got it? Here you go. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. None else can heal all my soul's diseases. No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about our struggles. He will guide till the day is done. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. No friend like him is so high and holy. No, not one. No, not one. Yet no friend is so meek and lowly. No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about our struggles. He will guide till the day is done. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. The last verse. Was there a gift like the Savior given? No, not one. No, not one. Will he refuse us a home in heaven? No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about our struggles. He will guide till the day is done. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Sorry about the chorus there. I kept going on back the way it. First one was how it sounded, how I thought it was supposed to sound. And the second verse, I thought, oh, let's see the way it's written, and then I went back to the way it's supposed to sound, right? All righty. Do we have prayer requests? Update on Bruce. Right. They were testing him for COVID-19. They were moving him to a different room, and we got to talk to him for just a few minutes this afternoon. And just keep Bruce in your prayers, keep Patty in your prayers. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have a spoken prayer request? Pray for the family that lost everything in the fire last week. All right. Does anybody else? Anybody with an unspoken request, something you want to pray about? All right, Charlie, will you lead some prayer? The only announcement that I know of right now is we don't know when we can come back and everyone can meet together, but hopefully it'll be soon. But with this time that we've had to be home and have time it's raining and you can't go outside and play all the time. Tammy and I've actually been able to watch some videos and online, just a couple things online. Did you send the link for that thing for Ron Hamilton? Okay, there's one of my spiritual heroes for the last 38 years, ever since I first heard one of his songs, was Ron Hamilton, Patch the Pirate. All the kids that have grown up in our church have sung his songs back in the back, and in the auditorium, How Can I Fear, and Pigs Don't Live in Houses, all the spiritual songs like that, Wiggle Worm, well, all the songs they sung. He wrote most of those songs, and he taught us most of those songs. That's right. So Josiah and Jared and I were back in the back, had the CD playing a while ago, and Patch Praises, whichever one it was, 1, 2, 3, or whatever it was, and it's Patch songs. He has dementia. Their ministry. They've been married. Him and his wife been married for 43 years, and past 40 years, he's been Patch the Pirate. Ron Hamilton's been Patch the Pirate. Now with him battling dementia, she did an interview. Tammy will text you the information if you'd like to watch it. If you have those who are not working or are working from home, and we know what working from home is for a lot of people, it's 10 minutes on the computer and then getting on the phone doing what they want. So Tammy will send you the information if you're interested in that. I would love for everybody in our church to watch that video of her interview, especially if your kids have grown up here and you've heard them sing Patch Pirate songs. Because most people don't know who he is. They've seen me dress up like a pirate and play Patch the Pirate at Vacation Bible School and stuff. But it's just the idea of watching them, how she still praises God even though of all his sickness and all that he's gone through. And all that they've gone through. They lost a son a few years ago, and how you can glorify. Everybody can glorify God on a sunny day when everything's perfect. It's completely different when you're trying to glorify God or want to glorify God when it's raining outside and it's raining in your life and things are going bad or seem to be bad, just like cancer and different things going on. So if you'll watch that, I'd appreciate that. There was a video that was up a week ago that was since been taken down on Donald's Bible. I think I asked everyone to watch that if you could, and that site has been taken down. That church got some bad feedback, publicity feedback from it, so they took the church that presented that has taken it down. But someone saved it, so an email is going back around, so you might be able to search for Donald's Bible on the internet and find that video as well. Okay, why, John? Why are you promoting this? Because we can sit around and watch Netflix movies and stuff like that on the rainy days when we can't go outside and play and can't go to work. And we can stay home and do other stuff. It'd be good to get these good things. If you watch that Shelley Hamilton interview, it'd be a blessing to everybody who watches it. Okay? All right. Anybody got a testimony besides me? I'm giving Ryan. Okay? That's what we do. We wish from the phone. Anybody else have a testimony? God's blessed you in some way you want to tell everybody about it? I can't tell you how many times in the last 2 weeks I've been able to witness to somebody where it's just the opportune time. It's just been perfect. Okay? Back to what you want to sing? Okay, didn't get it recorded. Okay, then turn to Luke chapter 24. Oh, yeah, we better do an offering. Joy Boy, can you help with the offering? Okay. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Lord, for loving us, and thank you for your provision for us, and thank you for the opportunity to give back to you. I pray your blessing and offering, and all we do, we want to glorify you. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Okay, open your Bibles, please, the book of Luke, chapter 24, Luke 24. We'll read the first couple of verses. We read this Easter Sunday 2 weeks ago at our sunrise service. And while we were standing outside and reading this, something else hit me in these verses that I wanted to relay to our church family, besides those who were there for the sunrise service. Luke chapter 24. A lot of these verses in Luke, a lot of these verses in the Gospels about the resurrection, we read only at Easter time. I don't know why we do that, but we read these once or twice a year. Luke 24, look at verse 1. We'll read quite a bit tonight in the message. So I want you to keep your Bibles open. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came into the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them. And they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre, and they entered in, and found not the body of the Lord Jesus. And it came to pass, as they were much perplexed thereabout, behold, 2 men stood by them in shining garments, and as they were afraid, and bowed their face to the earth, they said unto them, Why seek ye the living among the dead? He is not here, but is risen. Remember how he spake unto you when he was yet in Galilee, saying, The Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men, and be crucified, and third day rise again. Look at this way. This is just an introduction to the message and where we're going to get to in just a few minutes. But this was Easter Sunday morning, is what we now call Easter Sunday morning. And that the ladies, have got several ladies, they list them in verse 12, I think it is 12, 13. They list these ladies. They'd gone to the tomb. The stone was rolled away. The angels were there, shining garments. The men who were guarding the tomb had fell back and were astonished at what they saw. These ladies were shocked at what they saw. And they went back and they told the disciples what had happened, and the disciples didn't believe it. Okay? And then and Peter and John went to the tomb, and they came in, and they saw that Jesus was risen from the dead. John didn't go in. Peter went in, came back out of the tomb, and John was there, and he said, and they still can't believe. They were, Bible says in verse 12, they were much perplexed. They didn't know what to do at this point. Okay? So the disciples, so the word has gone around among the inner circle of the disciples that as Jesus is risen from the grave, but most of them don't believe it. Okay? They just they don't have the faith. It's not that they don't have the faith. He was their Messiah, their King, but now he's gone. Okay? And they don't know what to do at this situation. So we're going to read what happens with a couple of these men. Look at verse 13. We're going to read just a few verses, actually several verses in this story of these men. Okay? Behold, 2 of them went the same day to the village called Emmaus, which is from Jerusalem about 60 furlongs. This is just a few miles away. And they talked together of all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. He's with them, but they don't know who he is. Okay? And he said unto them, What manner of communications are these that you have one to another as you walk and are sad? And one of them, whose name was Cleophas, answering, said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which are come to pass there in these days? Don't you have CNN? Do you know what happened here? They crucified Jesus. And he said unto them, What things? And they said unto him concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the 3rd day since these things were done. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre, and they found not his body. They came saying that they had seen a vision of angels which said that he was alive, and certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre and found it even so as the woman had said, but him they saw not. And stop reading right there. And he said, We don't know what happened. Okay? We're not sure exactly what happened. This is what we've been told. We know who Jesus is. We know what we know, but we don't know what happened. We can just go by what these ladies have said, and then we don't really want to believe what these ladies have said. That's correct. Thank you, Lord, for your word. I pray you bless the next few minutes in the preaching of your word. Help us to examine this truth that you've given us tonight. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. The natural order of events, according to Cleophas and his friend, was there's a prophet that came to Jerusalem, mighty in word and deed,
We know what he did. He was crucified. The woman said he was raised. That the other disciples went to the tomb, and he's gone, but we don't know. The tomb's empty, but we don't know what happened or why. And we can't explain it as to why. So Jesus explains to Cleophas and his friends, I like this. Then he said unto them, verse 25, I'm going to read a lot tonight. Then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? And the disciples and Cleopas and his friend are standing there saying, we have no idea. They're walking with Jesus down the road, and they have no idea what he's talking about. Should he have suffered these things? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them all the scriptures, the things concerning himself. What Jesus talked to them about? I want to go through just a couple of things. We don't know because they had a couple miles to walk. So I don't know if I don't know if they have about 6 miles to walk. I don't know how far they were in their journey. I don't know if he talked to them for an hour about these things or if he talked to them for 10 minutes in this walk before they got to their house. Okay, what he talked to them about? Perhaps he went back to Genesis chapter 3. The chapter's not marked by chapter and verse at the time, and told them about that the Son of Man is going to come. The Redeemer of all mankind is going to come and bruise the serpent's head, and the serpent's going to bruise his heel. Perhaps he talked to them about that story. Perhaps he talked to them about Abraham offering Isaac up in the 3 days that they're going towards the mountain, and for 3 days Abraham is counting Isaac as being dead, but he knows he's not going to live again. Maybe he went through those stories and told Cleophas and his friend what is going to happen. Perhaps Jesus talked to them about when Joshua was getting ready to go to fight against Jericho, and he sees a man that is standing there on his side that he doesn't know who he is. He's an unseen captain or unknown captain. And he looks at him and says, are you for us or against us? And Jesus said, you got it wrong. Okay, you're on my side. You're fighting this battle for me. And Jesus is on their side. But perhaps he told them those stories. Maybe he went to Isaiah 53, where he says he's wounded for our transgressions and he was bruised for our iniquities. He may have gone through all of these things. He may have had enough time walking with them, and they still don't know who he is, going through all these prophecies about how everything about Jesus' life, from where he was born to the death, burial, and resurrection, was all prophesied in the Old Testament. He may have gone through all these things with these two men as he's walking down the road, and they still don't get it. Verse 21, he said, we thought, we trust, verse 21, he said, this Cleophas speaking, we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And so we thought this, but we don't know what's happened. We still don't understand. God's response is, you're slow of heart to believe all the prophets. Everything I've told you so far, you don't get it. Look up this way for a minute. This is my thinking of this. When I read through this, when we look at our life, most men, natural man, just sees his entire life with one view, his view. That's how he sees everything that happens in his life. Everything that happens at work, everything that happens with his family, everything that happens with politics or whatever it is, he sees his view and only his views. You ever try to argue with a liberal about politics? Excuse me, I'm conservative, put it this way. As a conservative, politically, you ever try to argue with a liberal about politics and they just can't see anything? They're blind. As Ronald Reagan said, just not a political message tonight. He said, the things that they know to be true just aren't so. And the things that people know to be true about him and about his policies, they just aren't factual, but they know them. So we see things. Most men go through their entire life seeing only what they see. Their history for them begins at their birth, or what they know of life, or what they've seen themselves. But there's the right word, but there's a parallel universe runs right alongside what we're going through and what we see. It's how God sees things. Completely different. So when Cleophas is walking down the road with Jesus and he's saying, have you been here? Do you know what's happened? And he lists through the things that he has seen or the things that he knows about. And Jesus on the other side of it says, you see it that way. Let me tell you what the truth is about all the things that you have seen. Every tragedy in our life, I mentioned that the Ron Hamilton videos, and they were pulling it up and watching that. I think every Christian ought to watch this. Everything we go through in life, we see it how we choose to see it. how we were brought up to see it. I mentioned politics a few minutes ago, that I'm conservative in my beliefs. I don't know if that's the way that I was brought up or not, because my brother's as liberal stop reading that. Stop right there. My brother's completely opposite as I am. Politically speaking, we're brought up in the same house. I don't know. So it's not really how we're brought up. It's just how I see things. And a lot of times our events in our life, whether it's in our house or on our job site, we see it our way. The things that happen in church, the people that get saved, or how we view people. And God says, I see it a completely different way than you see it. And Cleophas and them, his friend, were just now beginning to see it. They still don't understand who Jesus is. We see our vision, our version of things, and God sees truth. In David's day, man looketh on the outward appearance of God, looketh on the heart. The world history, all that we see, the fall of man, the rise and fall of nations, we see it as we want to see it. I talked 2 weeks ago on Wednesday night, we talked about Nebuchadnezzar, and he said, look at this kingdom I built for myself. And God says, you didn't build the kingdom, I gave it to you. And I'm going to take it away from you for 7 years, I'll take your mind from you. And all these things, we see it our way, and God says, I got another version of the story. Your version is your view. My version is truth, based on truth. Whether it's personal events or world history, if that's true, then no matter where we're going in life, no matter what happens along our road of life, is there a truth that goes along with it, or is there just accidents that these things happen in our life? Is it just accidents that this pandemic has hit our nation and our world? Is it just an accident, or has God got a plan? Is it as we're going through life on a national basis or a worldwide basis, as we're going through these things in life, and we're on this side looking at it, people being sick, people being dying, and people losing their jobs. 26 million people in America have lost their jobs, and we look at these things, this thing, how we see it on this side, looking at the same events. There's God on the other side saying, I see things that you don't see. I created these things. I allowed these things. I promoted these things. I allowed these things to happen, or pushed for these things to happen, or made these things happen. And I want you to see things my way. How are we going to see it? How can we see it His way when all we have is our view? All we can say is it's raining outside. I can't go out and play. Okay? I remember when I was as an adult. I was talking with my cousin Bradley. We're the same age, and for us going to Ripley when we were kids was going on vacation, because we got there and stay for a week. We didn't realize it at the time that our parents were on vacation, because they'd go back home and they'd leave us at the farm for several days, and that was their vacation, I guess. But Bradley said he remembered one day that it was raining, and here we are in the middle of our vacation. We can't get down and play in the pond, because we'd go down. Our life centered around that pond out there at the farm, and catching fish and have mud battles. And he said he was so tore up by the fact that it was raining. And my dad said, it's okay. It's not going to rain tomorrow, and you can play out there tomorrow. And it's seeing something completely different view, okay? When Jesus expounded to them all the scriptures concerning Himself, their eyes were open, and they knew Him. Not till later, when they were breaking bread with Him, when He broke bread and He was with them. He opened, verse 45 says, when He talked to His disciples, later their eyes were open and their understanding was open. Man's vision is limited to what we want to see. So then it comes down to what? The things we can't see. Do we trust God for the things we can't see? Or are we still stuck with our vision of how we see things? In our lifetime, boy, I get in trouble. In our lifetime, we take every event in our life, we compare it with Scripture and say there's a reason for what's happening. There's no uh-ohs with God. There's no mistakes with God. That wasn't planned. It was planned by God. He knew what was going to happen. You mean a car wreck or a sickness or whatever God allowed this to happen? Think about Preacher Dave losing his dad when Preacher Dave was on his chair. When he was 11 years old, his dad was killed by a drunk driver. And you think that God had that plan? Yeah, because he wanted him to become that man that would pastor this church and lead others to Christ. Okay, and you think, well, but John, that doesn't make sense. Why would God allow these tragic things to happen in people's lives? Because He's got a plan down the road. We're on this side, and we're looking at the events of our life, or the events of history, how we want to see it. And God says, yeah, I'm leading for this other way. I'm leading you for this way. I'm leading this nation for this way. I'm allowing these things to happen. Okay? Who controls the outcome? Really, God does. And so it's just like man coming up with religion, making up things on his own. I want to earn my way to heaven. Is man going down through this side of life and saying, I want to be good enough to get to heaven. I want to pay dues or give to the poor. I want to do stuff to get to heaven. And God says salvation is by grace. All he goes on his view. He said, all you do is trust me. I'll take you to heaven when you die if you'll trust me as your Savior. Repent of sin. I said, I'll show you your sin, and I paid the sin debt for you. All you do is trust me on this side. And we said, wow. A lot of people say, I don't understand. I can't grasp that. I was talking to one guy, and he said, why would God kill his son? I said, because he loves you. But that doesn't make sense to him. This person that's over on this side looking at it, he said, it doesn't make sense that somebody would kill their son. For me, that person doesn't know me. I mean, he loves you, even though you don't love him, he loves you anyway, and he killed his son, allowed his son to die on the cross for you. I think about this also as Christians. We need wisdom for a decision we're going to make. And I want to trust the one who sees everything on this side. Not just my view, who just sees things my views. Or if I wanted wisdom for my prayer life to be get my way, then that'd be me going down this side, looking at life in the middle and saying, I want Aladdin's lamp to get my 3 wishes. God says, why don't you trust me on this? He's going down on this side. He says, I see it like a parallel universe, same thing, same events, and we're seeing it differently. And he said, why don't you just trust me for the outcome? I'll guide you if you'll trust me. If you'll obey me, I will lead you. If you'll come to me, give me, Solomon said, my son, give me thine heart. Give me your heart, I will direct you, and you'll see in the end what I have planned. Think about Cleopas and his friend. Their eyes were open when Jesus broke bread. They saw him, they understood exactly who he was. They ran back into Jerusalem and told everyone what had happened to them and who they saw. But if they hadn't stopped, if they hadn't been interested in what he said, matter of fact, when they got to his house, when they were walking down the road, got to their house, Jesus made as if he would have gone farther, and they invited him in. They wanted to hear more from him. The question is, do we want answers, or do we want our will? Every question we have is answered in the Scriptures. Every need we have is answered in the Scriptures. And God says, trust me and obey me. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Thank you for the truth you've given us in your word tonight. I pray to bless that church family. And all we say and do, we want to bring honor and glory to you. Thank you for dying on the cross for us. And thank you for the story that you gave us tonight that have shown these 2 men truth. Well, they could see the events, how they could see them, and you showed them the truth behind the events. I pray you'll show us the truth behind the events in our life, whether it's our personal life, our nation, our church family. Please use us for your glory. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Let's all stand and sing. Page 360, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. Page 360. Page 360.
What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarm. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarm, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Jerry, we dismiss. Thanks for coming out tonight. You take your Bible back here, because my mom